day. We are here on the Wednesday evening, not a Thursday evening, but a Wednesday evening. We've got a lot to talk about. Me and Dustin spent the whole morning on Saturday at Florida State's first spring scrimmage under Mike Norvell, open to the public. We have a lot to discuss during that, a lot of notes there. I think Dustin wrote at least about 2,000 words on this whole scrimmage. So we've got a lot to kind of go through here and discuss. Along with that, we are going to jump into a big preview of Florida State versus number 1 seed Michigan. This game is going to be held on Sunday at 5 o'clock, so we're giving you guys enough days to listen to this podcast and preview with Austin. He gives the best insight around Florida State basketball, so I'm happy to have him on here to help us do this. As always, you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify. If you're on YouTube right now, feel free to hit the like button. It really does help us get this out to more FSU fans. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, hit that subscribe button so then whenever we upload an episode, it gets notified to your phone. Without any kind of us slowing down this podcast, let's jump into it. Let me introduce Nate Greer, our lead recruiting insider at NoleGameDay.com, Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer at NG, and also at the bottom, Dustin smiling. He's in a good mood. He just got offered a new job. Dustin Lewis is in the house, lead writer.
Don't say that. It's not official. Like, don't put that out there.
I'm doing it so if we can blow it, you know.
Great.
But, yeah, what's going on, gentlemen? Good to see you on this Wednesday night. We haven't had a Wednesday night in a little while.
This is the day to hate Michigan.
It's a great week to hate Michigan. It's always a great week, though, but definitely in particular to this one, it's definitely strong that we hate Michigan altogether.
Happy to be here.
Beyond happy. Nate, how are you feeling?
Great.
How are you and Dustin doing after y'all went at it earlier this week in the text messages?
We didn't go at it. I mean, I wouldn't really.
Dustin said that he thought that you were coming on to him a little too hard there, like just getting after him.
No, I was just saying it's about time he did some work, you know. If we were talking about, you know, going out there and putting in work, you know, it's great to see. You know, thank you, Dustin. Great job. That's all I said. And then he got
my Boy Scout badges.
Then he got all defensive and was trying to be, you know, a Tony Tough guy, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's how it went. I'm sure you'll release the text. I mean, you've done it before on social media. I'm sure they'll make their way out there.
Well, that's only for twats.
I'd be interested to see what category I fall under. Don't say it.
Yeah, don't say it. Yeah, no. No, but I appreciate everybody. If you're watching us live, definitely feel free to throw in a few questions here and there. We'll try to answer as many as we can as we go through the show. But the main focus tonight is scrimmage and March Madness with FSU versus Michigan. Let's jump into the first topic of the night. Obviously, Florida State. We just talked about it. Florida State held an open scrimmage. It was kind of late there by the staff. I didn't even know this was going on until Dustin texted me. I woke up in the morning and it was like, hey, we're getting up early in the morning. See you there. Florida State and Norvell, what they're doing is they're allowing fans, whoever, open to the public and even the media to be there to kind of view the scrimmages going on. It's
Smart.
It's smart. Nate was like, that's a smart idea. And I talked about it on Mark Rogers' show earlier tonight, like how smart that is of utilizing, the strictness of what the NCAA is doing right now with the visiting situation and allowing these guys to come in, watch practice. And then also, Dustin, which we thought was pretty interesting, the PA announcer talked about it on Saturday morning, that's allowing people to come down and take pictures inside Doak, which ended up being a big thing for recruits and high school athletes to go down there and take pictures, and it was all over social media. So this is kind of just a smart play here by Mike Norvell and staff.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because, we'll get into it, but you had recruits come last weekend. You're going to have some guys come up this weekend. We'll see if Florida State holds a scrimmage the Saturday after that, but then you're also going to have an influx of visitors on April 10th for the spring game. So, I mean, this is really just allowing Florida State to get as many guys in as possible to be able to check out the coaches in action, really, and also the team. And, from what I heard from some guys that I talked to, they were very impressed with what they saw on Saturday, and they love getting a chance to check out the campus. And there's a couple that are going to be back this weekend for the spring game. And we'll get a little bit more into that later on.
Yeah, no. What do you think, Nate, about that? Taking advantage. You talked about it in the group chat whenever we got news that it was going to be open to the public. How do you think Norvell's really taking advantage of that and recruiting wise?
Kind of like you said, I think it's taking advantage of the role, taking advantage of the game, and Florida State is not the only school that's going to do that or is doing that. So I think that it's just again it's an attention to detail, knowing that you can utilize opening up your practice or your scrimmage, whatever you want to call it, to fans, and which allows recruits to come sit in the stands and get a view of what's going on and finally kind of see some things, how the practices are ran, how things are unfolding, if it's really matching what the coaches are saying. Gives these recruits some validation. And like Dustin, I talked to a couple guys who were, simply blown away about some progress, but mainly just the way that the coaches connect with the players and how much they're really pushing them in a practice and in a scrimmage setting. So they were smart to take advantage of this. And, I'm not going to be surprised if we see quite a lot of schools, do it before spring is over.
Yeah,
But it's good for Florida State to set the precedent.
Yep. I mean, for some of these guys that are being heavily recruited right now haven't taken visits. This is not a visit, but kind of is a visit. So it gives Florida State first dibs on an opportunity to impress these guys. So.
And someone wrote in here in our Twitch chat, some states like California, they can't do this at all, due to their restrictions and everything. So, I mean, I know there's probably more of states that can do this, but some like, that side of the country really is, and there's a lot of more strict protocol for letting people into stands and even in the bigger establishments and amount of people you can have. So this is where Mike Norvell and staff and being in Florida, they can take full advantage on it and get recruits into Doak Campbell Stadium, get them to the campus even, and show them, a scrimmage, what a practice looks like, show like the organization. I think that's something Mike Norvell probably wants to show off is how organized it is, because that's something me and Dustin realized right off the bat. They were out there early. They got out there early for the scrimmage. Mike Norvell was ready, juiced up, ready to go, and it was right to it. There wasn't many breaks. When we saw breaks going on, it was breaks for maybe position groups, but you're still running spring special teams, right, Dustin? You're still running special teams drills while you're taking maybe a max of a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was extremely organized. And when we were out there, I compared it to that Saturday Night Live event that Florida State had under Taggart a couple years ago, where I swear the event started like an hour and a half or 2 hours later than it was scheduled to. I mean, this was a scrimmage scheduled for 10 in the morning. And when we got there, there's already guys out on the field. I think the kickers and like long snappers. And by, 9:40 or so, 9:45, the rest of the team was out there already going through warm-ups. And I mean, they started going through goal line before it was even 10 o'clock. So, I mean, they got started early, technically. And I mean, like you said, like everything was very sound. The players were dialed in the whole practice. And I mean, even the littlest things were on Mike Norvell's mind. Like the sideline was, a couple yards on the field at one point, and Mike Norvell turns around and he's screaming at him, "Get back on the sideline. Coaches, what are y'all doing? Why are y'all letting them on the field?"
Mm-hmm.
It was a good experience overall. I'm excited for this Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So kind of going more in detail, we just wanted to go over, the whole feeling of it, but just going off of like just first takes on it, Dustin. I know the rest of the guys can discuss it too on these players, but we've heard a lot of, the winner of the day. I guess we can just start off with, the winner of the day to me, and my take is Treshaun Ward. We heard so much about him during the tour of duty. We heard about him last year. The thing hindering him was just his mental game, getting down the playbook, little things like that. But he's out there, and it seemed like he was really in rhythm on that offense, Dustin, to me. He had the best vision out there. I know Corbin and DJ were out there too. Obviously, Toa Philly. You had Deontay Sheffield mixed in there, but the winner of this day overall, both on offense and defense, had to be Treshaun Ward for me. He had an outstanding day, had the best vision. He was able to shut off defenders, and I thought he hit the holes right, and he had actually a few goal line touches too, which ended up in 6. So to me, Treshaun Ward won that day.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, that goes back to what we've heard since really the tour of duty. I mean, he was really impressive there, and that's just continued now onto the field. And I mean, like you said, Logan, he was extremely impressive. He was definitely the standout player on either side of the day. And I mean, there were a couple other guys that had pretty good performances as well. But I mean, yeah, he got to the outside a couple times. He broke a tackle by Brendan Gant, then got like a 50 yards before Jay was able to push him out. And he broke one off the left side that was like 30 for a touchdown. He just outran everybody. And then, like Logan said, he scored twice inside on the goal line. So he had 3 touchdowns. I mean, well over 100 yards if you're thinking yard-wise. And he was the best running back by far.
I was talking with the guys that are over on Concord Talk, and we were talking about him, and kind of leading up to spring about, maybe Treshaun being a guy who takes carries this year, and the fact that, there's a belief that he's maybe the most natural runner that's on the roster. And, whether that's coach speak or whatever you want to call it, I think we're starting to see maybe some validity there. The small amount of carries he got in the bowl game against Arizona State, he produced. The few he got last year, he's produced. So I think that, like Logan said, the biggest knock for him has been the middle part of the game, learning, his role and what he should be doing inside the offense. If that comes together, he's the guy who can, FSU's running back's going to be rotational, but he's going to be a guy who's going to be in the rotation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, he really did win that game, win the scrimmage overall. If I'm looking at maybe defensively most impressive, and we'll probably agree on this, Dustin, was Jamie Robinson. Not just mainly just of his physicality, which showed off really quickly on the hits he was bringing, but also his physicality on the line, jamming up whoever he was on, and also in coverage too. I was watching him in goal line, and all of the reps that he had there. There was no way the quarterback was going to find a receiver on him. So by far, I think Jamie Robinson won that day. Wasn't some crazy performance, but to see a guy come in great shape, look really nice out there, and come from another school is nice to see.
Yeah,
before my only comment there is, not being there, but hearing that it was back and forth. One side didn't dominate the other, which is what we've heard, especially last year. So it's good to hear that both sides had some victories. Each side was able to push and produce against each other. So that that's good to see that balance there.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, as Logan would say, that's a big cat. I mean, whenever he walked out onto the field, we were looking over there, and I was looking at the roster, and I was like, that's Jamie Robinson. I mean, that's a big dude to be playing safety, and he came up and delivered. It might have been the biggest hit of the day, but I mean, it was a big pop on Cam McDonald, and when McDonald wasn't expecting it. And credit to McDonald, he held on to the ball, but I mean, the whole defense erupted whenever he did that. The coaches were freaking out. He had a really nice day, and I mean that entire secondary. There's some players out there. Jarvis Brownlee did a couple things. Darian Jones, I believe he had an interception, but I think they threw a penalty on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it wasn't a penalty, so don't worry about that. I was there.
No, it wasn't. Yeah,
ACC refs, man.
Yeah, I got the ACC refs out there. Somehow they were able to get them in there, but yeah, no. Jamie Robinson by far on the defensive side of the ball, and definitely the DB unit had the most He just came in well prepared, and he was the starting guy out there. They just threw him out there right off the bat, and it's nice to see a guy that's able to get down the playbook for whatever it's at right now. I know it's the spring, so it's going to be pretty light, but you're still able to go out there and perform like that and play good and be on lockdown on your receivers and be able to jam up on the line, play physical, lay a big hit on Cameron McDonald, who's a big cat. That's a pretty good sized guy, and he's a tight end. It was nice to see that kind of physicality to start off with, because he did say in his press conference when he arrived, he made a pretty bold statement that he wants to be the hardest hitting physical guy at what a star nickel, whatever he's at. He wants to be the most physical guy, but you instantly think about like a LaMarcus Joyner type. So he's got some work to do for that, but it's good to show off right in the first spring game, being physical or spring scrimmage, I should say.
I think in October we're going to look at that as a major W for that coaching staff getting him in. I think we're going to see a guy I really project him to be a starter, and I think that he's going to really play well for Florida State.
I agree, and I mean, I don't know if you echo this sentiment, Logan, but the second most impressive player that I saw on Saturday on defense was Fabian Lovett inside the interior of that defensive line. I mean, there were a couple times where they were running goal line where he just absolutely stuffed the offense. I think Florida State ran about 7 plays or so down on the goal line with, I believe it was Milton in at quarterback, if I'm remembering it correctly, and they didn't score on a single play. And there was 2 times back to back where Lovett just came right up the middle and got a tackle for loss. If he keeps doing stuff like that, I mean, he's going to be the next dominant defensive tackle at Florida State. So, I mean, that's another really good transfer addition that Florida State was able to get last year.
Going back to the defensive side, you named Fabian Lovett. Maybe some guys that we weren't expecting to see flash out, but this is a best part. You get to see who's ready to turn it around a little bit. Quashon Fuller, I thought, had a pretty solid day getting after the quarterback. He was in the backfield a ton. Griffiths was too, but I think Quashon Fuller was a little bit ahead of him. But Fuller was able to get into the backfield, even was able to stuff the run quite a few times too. I thought he had an impressive day. A guy that has a lot of the fans and people covering have been curious on what his future entails, and he goes from Florida, he goes to FSU. Like, what is how much playing time he's going to get in his career? I think this was a nice start for him during the spring, and I'm sure Odell was happy with his performance during the spring scrimmage, because Dustin, he was all over the place. I was even telling you, I mean, that's Fuller back there, man. He's already back there at the quarterback, and I think he had 1 or 2 sacks at least.
Oh, I agree, and he was another guy that I noted during that live thread that we were doing, that he had a really big hit on someone. I don't remember.
It was was it Toa Philly? Was it? Nah, who was it? It's in the note. It's in the.
I don't know if I put down the name of who he hit. It might have been. I don't know if Corbin was already out of the scrimmage by then. It was a running back though, and he lit him up. So, and that was one of the bigger hits of the day.
It might have been. It might have been
Corbin. Top five.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a really good day, and he was actually getting reps with the ones, like subbing in, whereas Griffiths, who had a decent day, and also Deontay Williams had a sack as well. They were running more against the twos and scout team type guys.
Yeah. Going through here, let's.
For Florida State, if Fuller can take that next step, that they need that, significantly for the depth of that defensive line. So if he can put it together, whether he's, sliding into a 3 or lining up as a Fox, Florida State needs that. So that's good to hear if he can start to put it together and take that next step for Florida State.
And you got to think that, also they've got Dennis Briggs right now, on the interior defensive line. But I mean, to me, he's really a guy that you can flex to really any position on that defensive line. So if needed, they can put him on the outside too to take up some snaps.
Absolutely. I know there's going to be some question marks, and I'm sure people are listening right now in their cars and like, what? Let's talk quarterbacks. What's going on with the quarterbacks? Mackenzie Milton, we get to see him in first under a spring scrimmage. Let's talk some quarterbacks. So let's talk some quarterbacks, why don't we? So let's just jump to it. Who do you think had the most impressive day, or who looked the best? Who looked best in rhythm on Saturday, Dustin? To you.
Out of the quarterbacks?
Yep, out of all the quarterbacks that we saw even walk on, but the main three that we got to see.
I mean, if you want me to be honest, out of the 3 quarterbacks I watched, the guy who had the best day was Tate Rodemaker, without a doubt. But at the same time, Tate Rodemaker wasn't going up against that first team defense the majority of the time. But I mean, man, he had a really nice day. I mean, there was one point towards the end of the scrimmage, he had Malik McClain on a fade route, and McClain just got by the entire defense. He was wide open, and Rodemaker hit him with a dart in stride. I mean, that was a touchdown. There was another play where he hit Kentron for a touchdown. He had a nice throw that Terry Wilson was able to make a really acrobatic catch on. It was a really nice day for him. But, going over to Milton, he was a little bit off in rhythm, maybe throwing wise, but I'm not really worried about that because he's a guy who, has proven what he can do at the college level at UCF. To me, the main thing I wanted to see in this scrimmage was his mobility. And there were a couple times where he rolled out of the pocket, and I mean, he looked fine. I remember you said before, like he had a little bit of a limp in his run, or maybe it looked a little awkward, but it looked completely natural. I remember the pocket broke down at one point. He had to scramble up, and he was comfortable enough to make a little juke cut on a defender. I thought mobility wise, he looked good, and it's really just going to come down to continuing to build chemistry with those receivers, learning the playbook. And, Logan, I think in a couple of days when we get out there, he's going to put on a show.
Yeah, no, you could definitely tell he's still got some chemistry to work with. Definitely his receivers. There were some low balls even during warm-ups. There's just little things that are hindering him at the first beginning. But, you're learning a whole new playbook, and as a quarterback, it's not going to be easy whatsoever. And Mike Norvell and Dillingham like to run a lot of different styled plays, and so it's not really a shocker there. But at least athleticism-wise, you could see it. It's just it's an awkward run. And we were told about this. It shouldn't be we shouldn't be all freaking out, but it is kind of like an awkward run of him. But he's running at 100%.
Not really.
He's running at 100%. That is fine. But yeah,
it's not like a noticeable awkward or anything.
Yeah.
But another thing, he was, even when he wasn't getting reps, I mean, he was locked in for that entire scrimmage. I think, Mike Norvell was standing off towards the sideline a little bit on the offensive side. And throughout the entire scrimmage, 4 or 5 times, we watched Mackenzie Milton walk over to Mike Norvell and sit there and have, extended conversations with him. Probably just, asking about what he could have done. I don't know. Either way, they're having some conversations, a lot of them. And I don't know. I think that can only be better for them getting their chemistry down as coach and player as they move through the spring, because they're still learning each other.
Yeah, no, they most certainly are. But yeah, I mean, Tate Rodemaker was out there for a majority of the time. I didn't know if they were ever going to take him off the field for. I didn't know. We didn't. We kept on asking each other, "Is this Milton's last series? Is this Jordan Travis's?" Because Rodemaker was out there for so dang long.
He needs it.
Yeah, he needed it. But going back to Rodemaker too, nice plays on the field, but his composure was a lot nice. It was nicer than from what I got to see in the stands whenever he was put in. Obviously, as a true freshman going to a college game, that's tough. But I mean, you're coming to Florida State and you're playing an opponent of that nature. You should be okay to be fine. His composure, and there's been, there's a lot of maybe some personality things that we were hearing during this offseason that he's been working on, and it did show on Saturday. He came prepared. He played well. I think he had the biggest plays for with him and connecting with wide receivers. I remember McClain's big catch and run.
I forgot about the one he threw he hit Jordan Young on that post route where Young was wide open in the middle of the defense, and he caught it, juked a DB, and I mean, it would have been a touchdown if it was a real game.
Yeah.
Arm talent's never been his issue.
No, never, no.
Yeah, and I mean, he's still got a lot of things to work on. Like, he probably got sacked 4 or 5 times during that scrimmage. So, really, to me, he needs to work on throwing the ball away, getting the ball out quicker, and also just read the defense. He did have an interception, but it was a long, deep ball downfield that was really just wide receiver and DB one-on-one. So, I don't really blame him for that. It was a 50-50 ball. He took a shot. But he's a redshirt freshman, and we've talked about it before. But having Milton in that room to kind of learn from and guide him a little bit and keep him on the right path, that's only going to help him. And I mean, that's something we've heard this offseason, that he's really taken a step forward with his attitude.
Mm-hmm. And last one here, we haven't been able to talk about him, but Jordan Travis. I mean, I thought that it probably went 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if there was. For me, it was really in between Jordan Travis and Tate Rodemaker, just because Jordan Travis was facing first team, and the first drive that they had, they went down their throats and scored on them, and Jordan Travis threw a touchdown. But there was some things that we've been looking for him to work on, and it's really about his accuracy when throwing a little bit deeper down the field. I thought and I think it was the first drive where I don't think you saw it because you're having to type like 30,000 things in 1 minute, but there was a nice touch pass from him to Ontario Wilson off to the sideline over the shoulder, and it was gorgeous. It's only where Ontario Wilson could catch. It was also a phenomenal catch from Ontario, but it was a great pass to him where only the wide receiver could get it. And Wilson for sure brought it down, and that's where that drive just kept on cooking. And with Jordan, what do you guys think the biggest thing for him to work on during this spring is? What's the biggest thing?
Being a consistent passer.
Okay.
Being able to push the ball down the field, but also hitting that 15 to 20 yard stuff in the middle of the field on a consistent basis. That's what opens up an offense. Until he can prove that, that's going to be what holds him back from being a starter. Yeah, he had some chunk plays last year, but he also missed a ton, which cut the toe off the offense. When you are leaving all those plays out in the field, it's a lot of missed points, a lot of missed opportunities. So for me, I want to see him just develop as a thrower.
I agree with that. And, also during the scrimmage, I just felt like he was tucking the ball down and running too quickly. He wasn't spending enough time reading the defense and finding the open man. He was like, all right, I got pressure on me. I'm going to tuck it down and run, which, I mean, that's his style. But at the same time, if he wants to be a quarterback, he's going to have to learn to deliver those throws under pressure and not always take it down for 3-4 yards.
Yeah, that was something I was noting too, is that I only saw maybe just 1 or 2 plays where he had to tuck it, and there was.
He did it. I watched him do it for like 3 or 4 straight plays.
I'd be interested to see, when he starts to tuck it and run, look downfield and see if there's receivers open, so is he not seeing that? Is his first thought is to run the ball when if you held it for another half second, guy's wide open and you hit that guy. So that's what I need to see. Yeah, it's great you pick up 4 or 5 yards, but you're also missing an opportunity to put points on the board or hit a 50-yarder. So
yeah, but that was practically the quarterback room. To start off the scrimmage until I think Dante Lucas went down with an injury. I thought the offensive line was moving pretty well. I don't know about you, Dustin, but we were talking, and I thought they were moving pretty solidly. I mean, they ran down that defense in that first drive. And then I believe the third drive, the Mackenzie Milton, I believe they didn't do much, but the first drive looked really nice. Were they able to have a run game and passing attack against the first-team defense?
Yeah, like you said, the offensive line, they looked pretty solid considering, Devontae Love-Taylor is going to miss the spring, and also Bavion Johnson wasn't suited up on Saturday, probably for a minor injury or something. Then, yeah, they did pretty well, and then when they were down on that goal line, whenever Fabian Lovett made one of those plays that I mentioned earlier, just in that crowd of bodies, Lucas either got rolled up on or something, and he had to go off to the side. He missed the rest of the scrimmage. He was just kind of limping around, but I mean, he looks like he's going to be okay. I don't think Mike Norvell mentioned him earlier today whenever he was talking about scrimmage injuries. So, they're still making progress. There's a lot of young guys on that offensive line. Robert Scott, he had some good battles out there with Jermaine Johnson. Johnson beat him at least one time for a sack, but I mean, you got to think of a redshirt freshman going up against a veteran pass rusher. That's just going to help his development moving forward. I mean, he's going to get those reps through the rest of the spring and in August before the season starts. I don't know if he's going to face many better edge rushers this college football season than the one that's on his team right now.
Nope. Let's see. Anything too more impressive? It was funny, though, going back to the offensive line and getting to see Coach Atkins. we were about to leave the stadium and be done, but Coach Atkins and all the position group coaches called their players over, for meetings before they went back in the locker room. And Coach Atkins had a nice little chat with the offensive lineman, and about 2 minutes later said, "Get down, up, down, here we go." And spent about, I don't know, we left. They could have kept on going, but we left.
They were still
going. We watched for about 5 minutes. But I thought it was pretty funny to see Coach Atkins getting after him.
Yeah, I mean, I said the offensive line, they had a pretty good day, but they were still giving up too many sacks, and there was one or two false start penalties and some other stuff that I'm sure, Atkins saw that he wasn't happy about. And yeah, he had a nice little chat with them, and then he made them all get in a circle and do up downs. The guys that couldn't do up downs were doing like air squats and like sit ups, depending on whatever they could do. I mean, he worked them. We were walking down the stairs, and we heard him start doing it, and we turned around and we're like, "Oh, we're gonna watch this." And that was the only position group that we saw get punished on the field. Everyone else went inside. So I mean, it just shows how high Atkins holds those guys in regard. He has high expectations for them, and he's set a bar. And if you're not above that bar, you're doing up downs, I guess.
And I'm happy for him that we got to have him on the field, because I did get to hear him cuss out Estes. Poor Estes. Poor Estes didn't know that they needed to be huddled up and getting ready for the next series. But poor true freshman Estes got a nice F-bomb from Coach Atkins and learned really quickly what it's like being in college ball, or just being around Coach Atkins, and how that's going to work. So
tough love,
absolutely. You got to love it. I loved every bit of it. It's just part of football. But yeah, offensive line, I think wide receivers, the guy that was out on the field the entire time, it felt like, I mean, he spent so much time on the field, was true freshman wide receiver Malik McLean. I kept on telling Dustin, is he getting off the field? Is he going to come off? He's been out here for so long. Is he in trouble? Is he having to get out a lot of reps? What's going on? A lot of plays? Does he not know the playbook? But as a true freshman, he was out there a ton, and also made some plays with Roadmaker.
Yeah, he was outstanding. I mean, he was the best, in my opinion. He was the best wide receiver out there on Saturday. He had the most catches out of anybody. He had that long play I mentioned up on the sideline earlier. And just there was a couple routes on the outside where he was quick enough to beat the DB. And he also has the size that he can use over there on the sideline to make tough catches. And, I'm really excited to keep seeing him develop. He needs to keep adding to his frame. I mean, I would say he's a little small right now. If he's going to take some big hits from DBs, like he needs to put on a little bit more weight. But I think Florida State got a good one in him.
Mm-hmm. And they were using him. Nate, you talked about it before we were previewing the wide receivers before spring camp started, and even whenever Florida State landed Malik McLean, you were talking about him being a red zone threat. They were utilizing him out wide at red zone. So, do you want to apply for a coaching job somewhere, or is it just wisdom? Is it just your wisdom from your beard, from those gray hairs coming out of there?
Yeah, it's on my itchy gray hairs.
Is it really? And that hair too. That hair is getting a little wild up there.
It's coming in, man. I'm trying to have
a
haircut like you, man.
What?
But
Jersey Shore over here.
Yeah, man, fist pumping. But no, I think that it's purposeful him playing as much as he did, because he needs to I was talking about on the Mark Rogers show that when he had me on a week and a half ago or so, with him, kind of said the same thing. You can play him inside the 20 in the red zone, and he's going to go up and make a play for you. But what he needs to work on is that, between the 20s and becoming a more consistent route runner. And I think that's purposeful, playing him as much as they did, because they're going to need him. They're going to need Burrell. They're going to need Destin Hill. So, when you still have the question marks at wide receiver coming in until week 2 now of camp, 2.5, whatever you want to call that, and you still have some question marks there. But I think everyone realizes that your 2 best options aren't there yet. So you need McClain to emerge. Mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily have to be a primary target, but someone that can come in and stretch the field for you, or make some tough catches, or go up and get the ball for you in the red zone. And I think that's going to be his main thing. I disagree a little bit with Dustin on the size thing. I think he's pretty physically put together. And that's his main advantage right now. He's got to learn how to run routes and get separation in college, but he's going to be a guy who can, both him and Burrell, I think, will be really, really good inside the red zone, because they can make the tough catch.
Yeah, and I mean, Burrell's not an elite burner guy, but the way that he was able to get out of his cuts on some of those routes on Saturday, he's got that football speed, Yeah,
I mean,
nice.
The technical part of his game is there, and not everyone's a 4-3, 4-4 guy. It's just not the way it works. Everyone's not blessed with that, but he knows how to use the size, and he knows how to run routes, and he knows how to get open. So, we had Kenny Shaw on here a couple weeks ago. That's one thing he did so well. Yeah, he's not going to kill you with his physical attributes, but he knew how to get open. He knew how to, he's a natural route runner. He knew how to, switch up his route and get open for the quarterback. And that's the stuff that Burrell knows how to do. So, there's still question marks at wide receiver, coming into where we're at now at this point in spring, but got to get his rest of his practices and get some answers. You need a guy like Jordan Young to flip that switch. I just don't understand what's going on there. Having some of the best highlight tape you can ever see, and it just hasn't come together for him. A guy like, Portier, a guy like Williamson, are guys who have a lot of promise, and I think are going to contribute this year. They got to keep it moving forward. So,
yeah, Kentron.
How did Helton look?
He didn't do very much.
Nothing, but he was on the starting lineup, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, out of the starters, which I believe were Helton and also Wilson, and if I'm correct, Ja'Kai Douglas was in there as a starting wide receiver. Wilson, Logan mentioned that play by Wilson, but I would say Douglas caught the most passes out of that group. He was consistently open. Mm-hmm. Nothing too big or anything but I
don't think we should be surprised as a fan base to see possibly Parchment, Hill, and Douglas as your starting 3.
Yeah, when we first arrived, it was easy to show. Dust, I told him, Josh Burrell looks like he's a junior. I mean, the size that he has on him is great. He's in shape. Like you said, he's not a big burner, but he did put himself in some good positions where he was open and he was able to, be physical and try to shut off blocks.
Strong hands.
Yeah, very strong hands, and you're able to see he's got a very nice frame on him, and he's just, it shows. We saw videos of him squatting ridiculous amounts for a true freshman coming in, so he's got some great size on him. Let's see, but I am very excited to have Destin Hill and Parchment just to only amp up that competitive nature in that room, because it's nice to see you have a Malik McLean out there who is getting a lot of reps, a ton of reps, and it's good to see these guys striving, because they know if you got 2 other cats coming in that have some high priority with some great skill that are going to get a majority of this PT. If you're going to try to get any of it, you might as well go now. So obviously Norvell and Dillingham have a lot of trust and belief in McLean and Burrell. They talked about it too at the opening of the the opening press conference for the spring. They talked very highly of these two. So shouldn't be a shocker. Shouldn't be a shocker.
I'm a little bit higher on Ontario Wilson than some other people are. I think he's just a good football player. But this is make or break for Jordan Young, man. Like, you're about to get passed.
Yeah.
You're about to get recruited over a guy who's got all the gifts. And this is your time to either do it or you're gonna get passed up, man.
And Ontario had a fantastic, like I said, that Jordan Travis and Terry Wilson on the sideline there was by far the best catch of the spring or that scrimmage. That was a phenomenal catch, almost one-handed it, but beautiful. Had 2 feet down. Was beautiful catch. So
yeah, and Young had that great catch on the post route where it would have been a touchdown. It was probably the second longest pass play of the day, outside of that route that McLean just got away from the whole defense on down the sideline.
Now, looking into this upcoming Saturday, Dustin and I plan on being there. What do you think? What are we looking for heading into this second spring scrimmage? Are we looking for maybe Milton to be in better rhythm heading out there? Is there maybe a younger guy you're looking forward to? Are we going to see the defense dominate? Is the offense going to dominate? Is there going to be a running back that's better than Treshaun Ward, the walk-on?
Yeah, you kind of said it. I want to see McKenzie get into a little bit more of a rhythm on Saturday, and we'll see if that happens. It's only been a week since the last scrimmage, so we'll just have to see. And other than that, really, I don't want to see one side dominate the other side. I think Nate kind of said it earlier, but I want to see both of these sides making plays, because you don't want a one side dominant team. You want your team to be balanced, and I think it's better in practice that way if the defense isn't just kicking the offense's ass or vice versa. You want both of them to be able to make plays, because that's how you get lied to. Last year we heard about how good the defense was, and we saw what kind of offense they were facing in practice. So I want to see them compete against each other and go at it, and defense wins some, offense wins some. I think it's going to be a good day, Logan.
Uh-oh, Nate's talking while his mic's muted.
I want to see some separation. I want to see some guys start to earn a spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to see. Guys start to put it together and stake a claim for a position.
Yeah, adding to that, I want to see McLean keep doing what he was doing this past Saturday, because he's gonna find snaps if he keeps performing like that.
Before we jump into the FSU versus Michigan preview, and we actually need to note on a few things here, though. I completely forgot. But Demore Tate, we saw that was in a boot on a scooter. We were trying to eye him he was on the other corner of the stadium over there on the field, but that really wasn't a great thing to see. A guy who we were projecting that had the potential of being a starting corner this season eventually be on a scooter, fully wrapped leg there.
And some of the things that we shared as a group, between us about him. So
it's not
disappointing.
Yeah, it stinks.
Mike Norvell said in the press conference, Demore Tate, Leonard Warner, and Thomas Schrader will all miss extended time.
Mm-hmm.
And from what we've heard on Schrader, it could be season ending. So we'll just see how it shakes out.
Well, let's jump into a little bit of some pro day stuff here before some recruiting notes. Florida State held their pro day earlier this week on
Get
Monday.
paid, Asante. Go get paid.
Yeah, let's read off some things here for Asante Samuel Jr. Obviously, some pretty big, since we don't have an NFL combine this year. The pro days are the big days, so we should probably go and see who was in attendance for the pro day for Florida State. Steelers GM Kevin Colbert and head coach Mike Tomlin representing
Yeah, I was
the
going to
Steelers.
say, I think you know who was there.
Yeah, I know who was there. Bills GM Brandon Beane was there. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst. That's just a ridiculous last name.
You didn't try to pronounce that before the show?
Never in a million years.
First time you're reading that list off?
I would still screw it up. I've never read this one, though. Defensive line coaches from the Steelers, Cowboys, and Bengals, and some defensive back coaches from the Patriots, Cardinals, and Dolphins. Sante Samuel Jr. weighed in at 180 pounds, had a wingspan of 72 inches, 1/4, 40-yard dash, a 4.45 unofficial.
That's big for him.
Yeah, that should seal up at least a late first round to early second round. That was a nice day for him. We got to see a few videos, but there wasn't a lot of media there. But really needed to go out there and show his speed and whatever else the scouts wanted them to get out there and work on. So, yeah, Sante Samuel Jr. What is he first? What do you say? Late first? Early second? I think right now for me he's early second, but I might be wrong.
My only thing was I wanted to see what he ran. I think the 40 is kind of just an overrated thing, but you have to have that speed in the NFL. So the tape is there, and now the measurements and the him being an explosive athlete there. So I think that he's going to be at worst a mid-second round guy now. I think that's definitely going to be his floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just all depends on how things unfold. I think that, Surtain and J.C. Horn probably separated themselves with their pro days, with what they were able to do over the last couple of days. But he's definitely, I think, number 3. And once you start making runs on corners, people start drafting. So,
yep. It was pretty funny, though. Speaking of Steelers, they had the pro day, and then the next day, the Steelers release corner Steven Nelson. Mm-hmm. And I just saw, Florida State just released a picture of Mike Tomlin and Asante have a nice, firm handshake together.
Well, Mike Tomlin,
he always comes to Tallahassee. I don't know if he's got like some kind of hookup here. I don't know if he's got some kind of hookup. But
I've seen him at IMG a lot, man. I mean, he likes the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm. He always comes to Tallahassee.
I think that was a good time by Tamari and Terry too.
Yeah,
I think that running in the low 4.4s with the size and with the tape, I think that someone's going to take a chance on him.
Yeah, 10.6 broad jump too, which is pretty impressive. Arms 33 inches by 3/8.
Yeah, which is massive.
Yeah. I don't care how long his arms are, Logan. Give me something important.
I would care if I'm a wide receiver how long my arms are.
Yeah, absolutely. What about his? What he vert? Like 35 inches, 34 inches.
32.5. If I'm correct.
Maybe when expect a little bit better there, but
yeah.
The speeds there, the shuttle times were good.
Yeah,
his project was decent. He's a long body and he can run. So
yeah. Hamza was dealing with a hamstring injury.
Hamstring.
Yeah, he had a hamstring injury during training before this, so he did not run the 40 or do broad jump. But I said that
he did do position drills.
Yeah, he did do a few position drills. He did bench. He did 17 reps. One of the impressive things here is, I believe this is. I'm trying to read like 85 stats at once. But
said he did 17 reps.
Yep, 17 reps of bench.
It's not awful for how long his arms are. Same thing with.
He's a lanky guy.
I'll wait till he reads Janarius Robinson's bench till I add my comparison.
I was gonna go to this, and
I got a player that I'm gonna compare to his bench, and y'all are gonna be like, bro, like I'm serious. Go ahead.
I was gonna say someone that did good for himself. I know he's already an athletic freak, but he's been this way since high school. But Janarius Robinson came in at 263, wingspan of 86 and 1/4. I mean, this is just freakish size. He DM'd me and said he did not run a slow ass 4.78. He said he was late. He said 4.6 at the worst. So he did not run a 4.78. Jim Nagy. He ran probably a 4.4. 4.55, 4.6 flat, somewhere around there.
If you think he ran a 4.5, you're crazy. That's all.
A late 4.5.
If he thinks he ran a 4.5, he's crazy.
4.6 sub.
Gotta be like
I wouldn't even
4.7.
Running 4.7 at 6.5 to.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's a good time.
It's
Dustin is I like it that Dustin's the number one coming after these people in their athleticism. Dustin, whenever we go down to Orlando,
you've never seen me do the 3-cone drill. That's all I'll say.
Dustin's coming after.
I got sweet feet. All right, step off.
But anyways, going to back.
What was Marvin Wilson's bench? How many did he get?
I'm going to Janarius's. So Janarius over here popped off with these long arms, 25 reps at 225 bench, 25 times for Deanne right there. Marvin Wilson repped it 23 times. Came in at 303 pounds, ran a 5.12.40.
Let's hear that comp, Dustin.
So this is why Florida State needs Josh Storms for the future. Okay. Because over at Purdue, you've got Rondell Moore, who's going to be a pretty solid NFL draft prospect.
5'7", 180.
Yeah, he measured in at 5'7", 180. He didn't participate in the bench press at the combine, but he posted a video to his Twitter of him doing 225. He did it 24 times. More than Marvin Wilson, more than Hamza, right under Janarius Robinson, 5'7", 180 pounds. I mean, that's why Florida State needs a real strength and conditioning coach.
But also, his arms are like 21 inches long. Let
me look those things up.
Look it up. See how long his arms are.
How long are?
I fully agree with you. I think Marvin was disappointing in his numbers, and I think that I was happy to see a lot of these teams question his reasoning for putting that crap out there at the start of the season with Norvell and all that kind of stuff. I was happy to see these coaches kind of confront him on that because that was just not acceptable. So,
no,
I think he cost himself a lot of money this year.
Yeah, I think it hurt him a lot, and the biggest thing.
Let me give me your prediction. Give me your prediction, because last year there was talk that he could be a first-round guy.
Fourth.
And then fourth.
I think he's probably like late third.
I think a late third is my prediction right now.
I think it's a weak defensive tackle class. I think a team's going to jump on it.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. But yeah, no, I do agree. I mean, definitely most certainly hurt himself. He would be at worst a second round if.
So I guess here's another question for you
stay.
guys. Here's another question for you guys, because J-Rob has done really well for his stock since the Senior Bowl, and I mean, he did pretty well at the pro day.
Yeah.
So, is there any chance a team takes a leap on him and those physical tools and potential that he has, draft him before Marvin Wilson?
No chance. I don't see J-Rob being better than like a fifth.
So
I don't think it's like something that is like just right off the bat. Like, no.
Did you find his arm length?
Hold on. Okay, so
I couldn't find it.
If a DN's coach,
he ran a 4.29. Rondo ran a 4.29.
Yeah.
So hold on.
Marvin Wilson did.
No.
Marvin Wilson ran a 4.29.
Nah. Rondell Moore.
DeMarcus Christmas. No. Robert Cooper.
Nelson Lewis.
You would fall on your face if
and
your legs were moving that fast.
And he jumped 42.5. So that guy's an explosive guy, but I think he lost some money coming in at 5'7", not the 5'9" that was listed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's going to be a problem.
That's a small dude.
I mean, they're going to comp him to Tyreek Hill, but, Tyreek Hill's speed is just different.
Who's the dude on the Bears? Cohen.
Tariq.
Yeah,
people were comparing him to him, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, Mike Tomlin, my brother, You can make up for everything if, well, not really. I mean, we were supposed to like win a Super Bowl, but you could save everything, and I will give you a hall pass if we bring on Asante. But if you think about, Steelers also looking for a Fox too. So could it be later on down the road a J. Rob or even a Kane Doe? I don't know. I mean, the Steelers brought their defensive line coach too. So,
well, I think that he made some money at the Senior Bowl. I think he NFL is always. I agree with Austin. Is super enamored with physical freaks, and there's always a coach that thinks that they can be the guy to turn it around and put it all together for him. So some team's going to reach for him. But we've seen it for 4 years now, that 3 years, whatever, that he's just not put it all together on the field. Has flashed abilities to be a dominant guy, but just still left you with like, what are you doing, man? Like, why'd you just do that? So I think that when teams cut on the tape, they're going to just wonder, like, what's going on here? He's a physical freak, but at the same time, just, he's not creating havoc.
Is Terry second round latest?
No.
Third? It's tough for him. I think it's an interesting spot. I mean, I think his athleticism. He's a freak. He's a freakish athlete. I mean, his football speed's better than I think his off the field speed. His football speed's ridiculous. There's some guys that can run fast without pads, but he runs fast with pads. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's definitely
and he got significantly faster before he.
He's an interesting case study because he has all the physical traits that these guys look for in the NFL. Despite this past year, I'm still a fan of his. I think that he's going to do really well in the NFL. So even if he goes second, third round, I think that he's going to be steal. It's also just a really good draft for wide receivers this year. For the next 3 to 4 years, it's last year, this year, next year. It's a deep draft. So even if it is third round, it's not necessarily a bad thing in terms of how deep the class is this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, are you going to draft Tamar and Terry over Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase? No. Jalen Waddle? No. Rondell Moore? I think maybe we have a conversation there because I think, more size is now definitely a question mark. Mm-hmm. But he's a really damn good football player. Now, it's just going to be interesting to see how it unfolds because, he's got everything there and has produced, but something just doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm. I think because it's such a deep wide receiver draft, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a day 3 pick.
Yep.
I mean, most big boards, like I was Googling while you were talking, like most big boards have him between like 10 and 15 in the wide receivers, which, that's all pie in the sky, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's a day 3 pick just because of, left the season early. He's been dealing with injuries. As you said, something's not right, but he's clearly talented.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Nothing on his arm size. Just the one thing is that on Moore, going back there, I can't find it, but they said his catch radius is not big. So he's going to have to be someone that you manufacture touches.
Well, Dustin, there's some recruiting notes in here. Obviously, like we talked about, Florida State plans on holding a second scrimmage. And it seems like there's a good amount of visits, including Florida State's 2022 quarterback commit right now, Nico Marchiol, traveling from his home state.
Yeah, just like this past weekend, there's going to be some recruits in Tallahassee to watch the open scrimmage, tour campus, also check out the city, just kind of depending on how long that they're here. But the guys that I have personally confirmed that will be there on this Saturday. For 2022, you got offensive tackle Daltrey Richardson, linebacker Devin Smith, and offensive guard Kanaya Charlton. And then 2023, wide receiver Raymond Cottrell, and 2023 running back FSU commitment, Cedric Baxter. And this will actually be the second weekend in a row that Cottrell has been in attendance at the scrimmage and been in Tallahassee. So he's got to like what he's seeing. And then those 2022 guys, all three of them are pretty high targets for FSU that they're trying to get in the class.
I'd watch Charlton.
He's on commit watch.
He's been talking about a spring commitment.
So is Richardson.
So
we'll see. I mean, it could happen on Saturday. I'll try and get the scoop.
Yeah, things have been quiet, So I mean,
too quiet.
We'll see. There's going to be guys that pop in that you don't know about. So
right, yeah, like Logan said, 2022 quarterback and commit Nico Marchiol is going to be in Tallahassee. I think he announced that on Instagram, and then it's only Wednesday night, so there's definitely going to be some other guys that decide to attend on Saturday. I reached out to Aaron Hester, and he said that he's considering coming up this weekend, and there were a couple other guys that are considering making the trip. So we'll just have to see how it shakes out.
Mm-hmm. Who'd you say some names that maybe who are leaning maybe towards committing in the spring? Who might be on commitment watch?
Two guys that are on the list that me and Nate just mentioned: offensive tackle Daughtry Richardson, who actually played at Godby for at least a season. I don't know, Nate, maybe you know.
One
and
year.
Then also offensive guard Kanaya Charlton, who is from Brunswick up in Georgia. So those are two guys that Florida State has been on for a while.
Sweet deal. Well, let's jump into some Chick-fil-A trivia before.
Wait.
Alrighty, my bad.
Let me get my other recruiting nugget.
Oh yeah.
So there was a rumor floating around. I don't know if it's been the last couple weeks, but it was something that I kind of found this weekend, talking about 2022 running back Damari Alston out of Georgia, reclassifying to the 2020-21 class and then signing with Auburn so that he could play this year. So, yeah, I read up on that, checked it out. I guess he needed one class or something like that to be able to graduate early and make that move. But I talked to him earlier this week, and he said that he's going to remain in the 2022 class. He's not going to reclassify, which is definitely good news on Florida State side of things. And he's also planning to visit the spring game. And I mean, he's right up there at the top of that running back board, along with another guy who was recently in Tallahassee and Jalen Glover, who we did an update with earlier this week.
Sweet deal. Some good little nuggets there. Little baby nugget. All right, let's jump into some Chick-fil-A trivia before we preview this big game with Florida State and Michigan on Sunday.
Big game? There's a big game coming up?
There's a big one. I think Austin might know about it. I don't know.
Slightly huge.
Slightly might be a big one.
Is it revenge time?
That's what you say all the time in the Tinder DMs, isn't it? Slightly.
Here we go.
Oh God, dude, that was bad.
All right, here we go. Let's jump. I love how we're jumping right into a Chick-fil-A trivia right before this.
Great segue.
Yeah, great segue. Let's talk about some food and Chick-fil-A, our good friends from over there on West Tennessee Street. Go say what's up to them. If you're going to the spring scrimmages, me and Dustin did it before FSU's basketball game. We hit the drive-through over there on West Tennessee Street. They're fast. The food is always good. The sauce is amazing. I don't need to say anything more. Chick-fil-A is best.
I went after the scrimmage, too.
I did, too. I saw you in the drive-through. That's what I was just saying.
It was fire.
All right. Let's see here. All right, this is a good one. All right, so for the first 19 years of operation, Chick-fil-A restaurants could only be found where?
Georgia.
Found in Atlanta, bro.
Oh, wait, no. How about
It's a
food courts?
You're correct. I mean, you're not going to know the name of it, maybe, but it's called the Food Court of Greenbrier Mall.
Nate's on top of these.
Wow. He also has some time.
It's
on
my.
us. That's your wisdom.
It's my It's my industry, dude. You know.
True. That is true. You have an advantage of us here. Let's read it up. The first
It
ever.
just makes sense to be like, like a Sbarro who starts in a mall.
True. The first ever Chick-fil-A restaurant opened in 1967 in the food court of the Greenbrier Mall. For nearly 2 decades, the business model was focused solely on opening restaurants and mall food courts only. Try to imagine a Chick-fil-A without drive-thrus today. Couldn't imagine it, but it sounds about right. Nate knows his history in food, so you might keep your job, Nate.
My job?
Yeah, your job. Potentially. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's jump into some Florida State basketball. Obviously, big time showdown. Florida State, number 4 seed versus number 1 seed, Michigan. I mean, we still need to go back and look at Florida State's win against Colorado. But obviously, a good week for the Noles in basketball, trying to turn some things around and get some energy heading into a big game on Sunday.
It was a solid weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The Greensboro game was sloppy, a lot sloppier than I was expecting. But, a win in March is still a win in March. You're able to contain Isaiah Miller for the most part. If it wasn't for Keyshawn Langley, it's a 20-point win. And we did it without hitting a 3, which couldn't tell you the last time that happened. I think they said it was 2018 was the last time we won a game without hitting a 3. Then the Colorado game, ugly first half, and then just an absolute beatdown second half. Colorado got within 1 point after 2 back-to-back baskets from Evan Batty. Then Florida State just completely flipped the momentum. You got that lob play to Sadar Calhoun. You had that one stretch in about 25 game seconds of foul on Colorado, technical foul on Colorado, backcourt violation, Anthony Plight hitting a 3-pointer. It was a 10-point swing in a span of 25 seconds. And, in March, that's such a big swing, especially in the second half. Florida State was so good in that second half against Colorado. If that team shows up on Sunday, I mean, watch out. That's a dangerous team.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, man, Anthony Polite was just simply terrific. I mean, it was the perfect time for him to kind of rise up to the occasion and have the best game ever of his college career. He came out, he hit those 2 early threes, and I kind of think that helped the rest of the team become a little bit more confident after not making a shot from behind the arc, like you mentioned in that first game. And they started letting them fire. We were actually seeing some 3-point attempts. I forget exactly how many it was.
I think we finished 4 of 11.
6 out of 17. So you put up nearly double the amount of attempts from deep than that first game, and I thought that really stretched out the floor for Florida State. And then also just Scotty Barnes. He still isn't at that aggressive level that you really want yet, but he was making some dimes against Colorado. I mean, no look passes.
Yeah, once Colorado went to that 2-3, it was over.
He just picked them apart.
He had 2 really good passes back to back. He had one to Polite on the baseline, and then another one right to Wyatt Wilkes, who got the easy floater like 5 feet away. I mean, just 2 insane passes.
It was beautiful.
They're going to need him to be aggressive on Sunday. We'll talk about that in a second. He needs to have more than 2 shot attempts, which he's had both of these 2 games so far. But really, the story of the game for Colorado was defense. I mean, they just completely smothered Colorado from the jump. I posted a screenshot of Twitter of the Colorado's first inbounds pass, and McKinley Wright's got 2 people on him when the ball is being inbounded 20 feet away. From that moment on, McKinley Wright hardly touched the ball. Yeah, he took 12 shots, but there were some really bad shots. He had 5 turnovers, only 1 assist compared to, I think he had 13 against Georgetown. I mean, when you contain a player like that, and they didn't really have a secondary creator. They don't have somebody that can create looks for other people like McKinley Wright can. You limit him, and you see the results. They shot 35% from the floor, 24% from 3, and only got to the free throw line 11 times. Defense was the big reason why Florida State won both games this weekend, not just Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, even as ugly as it was on the offensive side for Florida State in that first half, that was the best performance on defense in 20 minutes that we've seen all season. I mean, you nailed it on the head. They locked them down. The rotations were perfect. The switches were perfect. They contested every shot. The rebounding has still got to improve. Definitely. I feel like they still give up too many offensive rebounds at times. But I mean, they only gave up 18 real points in that half. You know, the last one was a runaway layup as the clock expired that they kind of gave up, kind of a BS layup. But 18 points in 20 minutes, even 20 points in 20 minutes. I mean, they were just locked in. Like you said, if they bring that same level of intensity to this game on Sunday and they continue to blossom from that second half that they had against Colorado offensively, guys like Malik Osborne, Anthony Polite continue to contribute. Also stays out of foul trouble and plays more than however few minutes he played the other night. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get to predictions yet, but I'm feeling really good about Florida State this weekend.
Yeah, a couple key stats from the Colorado game. I think the biggest one is fast break points. Florida State led those 20-2. Points in the paint 28-16 for Florida State. And then even though Colorado had, what was it? 16 offensive rebounds, they only had 10 second chance points. I mean, Florida State was swarming the court. There's a few offensive rebounds where it was just long rebounds. Florida State couldn't really do anything about them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you want to see those cleaned up either way. Because against Michigan, you got a guy like Hunter Dickinson who can just dominate down low, especially on the offensive glass. You're gonna have to clean those up. You're gonna have to really box out hard. But it was so much fun watching that second half. After, everyone's like, "Oh, Colorado's gonna win." They just blew out Georgetown. They put up 96 points. They're gonna kill Florida State. It was a completely different Colorado team. Georgetown's ball screen defense was so bad for what Colorado likes to do, and Florida State just had none of it. Their switching scheme gave Colorado fits all game.
You play that defense, you're going on a tournament run. So
Yeah.
I put it on Twitter.
It's that easy, man.
I put on Twitter, Florida State's defense has been so good through 2 games. They've gone from 43rd in defensive efficiency to 29th in 2 games. That's
Huge.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a big jump because now you're going from the great tier to the elite tier. And that's hard to do in 2 games.
Nate.
I think if that continues, FSU is going to Elite 8.
Nate, real quick, someone from the YouTube here says Nate enjoys going to food courts instead of shopping at the mall. Is that true or false?
It depends what's in the food court.
Chick-fil-A.
I mean, Chick-fil-A is always an option.
Chick-fil-A is in every food court.
But
not in mine.
But
wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
It just depends what's there. I mean, I have a wife and kids, so it's sometimes nice to go just sit down and not shop. And if I can get a Chick-fil-A ice cream or Philly cheesesteak, so be it.
Well, that ice cream might get in that beard, so watch out. All right. Anyways, back to VZ's rundown here.
I think at this point we got to cover Michigan, right?
Is it time? I need to tweet it. I got to let the listeners.
Or should we talk about the 2 quick hitters first?
Give me the quick hitters. The best comes last.
Yeah, Fiondu Kabengele got traded to the Kings for I think it was like a 2nd-round pick in cash. They're just opening up a roster spot to try and get a point guard. Hopefully he gets a chance to play in Sacramento. I think he's still really talented, and Sacramento needs big, so hopefully he gets some minutes there. And then,
are you surprised he hasn't gotten that much run in the NBA?
A little bit, because I think he's got such a unique skill set at 6'11", can defend multiple positions, hit a 3. I just think he's still a little bit too out of pocket, I guess. Like he plays a little bit too crazy. I think he's phenomenal. I think the right team's gonna. I mean, it's the best way to describe him. That's the best way to describe him. Sometimes he just goes a little too crazy. I love him, but sometimes he just plays a little too crazy, a little bit out of the system.
That's what Calhoun was doing a little bit, I thought.
Yeah. If the right team gets a hold of Fiondu, I think he's going to be phenomenal. He's just got to go to the right team. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see what Terrence Mann's doing with the Clippers. He had 21 points the other night in a comeback win.
Yeah, and he's been keeping them in games.
He was phenomenal. He's been playing 6-man roles for them now.
Hey, I hear the Spear alum, I must add.
Yeah. He gave a nice little speech too about being with Fee for the past 4 or 5 years and now parting ways. He had a nice little.
It's got to be tough.
I mean, yeah, you've been with a guy for 5 years. I mean, those two are basically brothers at this point.
Yeah,
I
they
think
really had to break him up. Like, come on.
I think they lived in the same apartment complex in LA too.
Who do I need to fight? Is it Doc Rivers that's there?
No, Doc's in
Oh,
Philly now.
dude.
He's a little
Wait,
behind.
bro.
Yeah. Welcome to 2021.
Hold on, give me a second.
I
What?
think Jerry West is.
I
running
didn't-
the
wait,
show.
what?
Donald Trump's not president anymore.
Oh, I'm an
either.
idiot.
I heard.
I'm an idiot. It's Lou, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, he's the coach, but Jerry West is running the show.
Well, yeah. I wasn't that stupid naming it. I was just saying the coach here, but
Willie Taggart's no
screw
longer
you.
at FSU.
He's not. You gotta be shit for real. He just got let go. Holy crap! Probably too much dancing, right? But yeah, screw. Who is it? West.
I guess.
Yeah, I'll come after him. I'll take care of him. Sorry.
I'm sure you will. And then should we all pick an upset from the bracket so far?
Oh yeah.
There's
I
a-
forgot.
Yeah, there's a lot of good upsets this
We need to
weekend.
pick one. All right, hold up.
I mean, I know where Logan's going.
We're picking
Whoa.
our favorite upset.
Favorite upset.
Oh, we're
I'll
picking
go
our favorite
first. I'll
one
go
so far.
first.
Oh, I thought I was about to predict this upcoming weekend.
No.
Okay.
Favorite upset so far from the first weekend.
My favorite upset. I mean, and there's so many. I mean, it's so hard to choose
Mhm.
from. But I would say my favorite one was Ohio beating Virginia.
That was
Just
a fun game.
because, yeah, last podcast I was talking about Jason Preston. I mean, he did pretty good, and then they had that Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude went
He was,
crazy.
he was at one point. I swear he scored 10 or 12 straight. You got his dad in the stands, like freaking out, like a madman. I mean, that game was just awesome. Like there was so much emotion, and I don't know. I also like seeing Virginia lose.
I didn't get to see
I had
that
to go
one.
Oral Roberts, man. Mainly because of all the smack they've been talking on Twitter. It's been pretty interesting. It's been pretty funny.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
But no, for that whole bracket is tore up. But
yeah, it's nasty.
Everyone-
yeah,
Everyone's
mine's
bracket.
tore up. But yeah, when Oral Roberts beating Ohio State and then Florida, it's always great to see them lose. But I mean, them and Loyola got to be the two big, them beating Illinois, knocking out the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even consider Loyola an upset because they're a top 10 Ken Pom team. They're the best defense in the country. Like, that team's for real. They were underseeded 2 or 3 seed lines. They should have been at least a 6.
Yeah, I mean, they might win that bracket.
You want to talk about messed up brackets?
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Oregon State and Loyola.
Yeah, Loyola,
Yeah.
Oregon
I'm
State,
looking at that one right
Houston,
now.
and Syracuse.
Yeah,
Just what is going on down there?
Yeah,
Where our bracket's pretty much chalk outside of UCLA.
hmm
yeah. I've loved them all. I mean, I don't know if I really have a favorite. Of course, it's great to see Mike White. Hopefully he gets extended too. I'm working on sending some money on getting his extension going, but it's good to see them just do the regular thing. And I have so many Florida fans at work, and I get text messages all the time. It's good to see them out of there. And yeah, Oral Roberts, probably Loyola. I watched that whole game. It's just fun watching them. And you got Sister Jean up there chilling. I mean, is she running off of like robotics shit or something?
I don't even know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I think
man.
they're like
she's.
they have like strings on her arms and she's doing
Who
stuff.
do you think's the 2 best teams right now left?
Gonzaga and Baylor. Pretty easy.
I think
Playing
Loyola
the
might be
best.
this. I think Loyola is going to beat Baylor in the Final Four.
We'll see.
Call me nuts.
Well,
I think UCLA is going to beat Alabama.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so.
I don't see it with Alabama. Someone put on Twitter today that Alabama's the only remaining team that can beat Gonzaga. I don't see it.
I
But-
mean, they're good. They're really
yeah.
good. But I mean, we saw it in the first round. I mean, they're beatable. They almost lost
UCLA
their
is
first round game.
just they're just hot right now.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
playing really well. I mean, Mick Cronin's a phenomenal coach.
mm-hmm.
And I,
Yeah,
I haven't picked my upset yet. Abilene Christian over Texas was the
That was a
craziest
great
game.
one.
I didn't get to see that one. Dang.
Abilene Christian was outmatched at every single position. I think they shot like 28% from the floor and beat Texas, it was a really good team. They've got multiple NBA picks, and they won the game. I think they forced Texas into 22 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, no matter which one you choose, this was an epic weekend of March Madness.
I think they said if you add up all the seeds that into the Sweet 16, it's the highest ever.
Mm-hmm.
I
Almost
think-
a 6 seed average.
Yeah. I think it was a 5.8 average. Yeah. and then just add up all the seats completely. I think it was like 86 or something. I mean, it's an insanely high number. It was a fun first weekend. Really fun first weekend.
I still have all my Final Four teams alive.
Oh, I do not. I have 2 left.
Can't relate.
Yeah, I've got 1 left.
and my national championship picks out. So we're down for the count.
Who was it again?
I had Illinois as my
Yeah.
champion, and then I had Ohio State in the Final Four, which rip.
No.
I need one of them to lose to. I need Michigan to go down.
I mean, great segue.
So-
Phenomenal
Is this
segue. Yeah.
Is this it? All right. So Florida State's going to be facing number 1 seed Michigan on Sunday at 5 p.m. What's the TV station for that?
TBS.
Yeah, TBS.
TBS.
TBS. Has
Not
that been
T, not T,
Oh, it's
C.
C?
Yeah.
Oh,
Prime
excuse
time, baby.
us.
Prime time.
Excuse us.
Main channel.
I'm making sure you get it right,
At least
bro.
if you're going to say C and Charlie, sir. Please get it right.
All right, Charlie BS.
you.
Okay. Anyways,
Thank
Florida State's facing on Sunday. The Michigan Wolverines. Is it revenge time? Is this what it's all about? Looks like
better
Florida
be.
State had energy the other day whenever they were when they were playing Colorado. That's something I would have been high on. That was a really fun game to watch. Florida State was throwing alley-oops. They were in their bag. I liked Malik Osborne's energy. I liked Polite having the energy of he wasn't going to let this team lose. Just first thoughts on this matchup, Austin. Is Florida State out of like talent wise? Or are they similar?
Pretty similar. I think Michigan's got 5 or 6 top 100 guys. Really talented team. They're not as deep as Florida State, especially with Isaiah Livers expected to be out. But I think Florida State matches up super, super well with Michigan. I tweeted last night and put it in the Discord. Michigan's the 5th worst team in forced turnovers per game. They're 8th worst in forced turnover rate. They don't get a ton of offensive rebounds. They don't get to the free throw line a ton. They don't change defenses that much. They struggle against really athletic teams like Florida State. We saw in their game against Illinois where Illinois just handed it to them. And Illinois is a really athletic team. Florida State's got a chance. I mean, we've said it multiple times that if Florida State gets out the first weekend, they should really like how it sets up for the final weekend. Michigan kind of struggled with LSU. Were able to pull away at the end once Franz Wagner started warming up, but Florida State really likes their chances here. There's a couple interesting storylines outside of just Isaiah Livers being out. Coach Hamilton actually coached Juwan Howard for a season with the Washington Wizards, and now they're coaching against each other 20 years later. It's gonna be a really fun game. Really, really fun game.
Mm-hmm. Anybody do anything special for it? So on what was it? That was Saturday, if I'm correct. No, that was Thursday. I'm losing my mind. I've had a busy week. God, I'm obviously losing my mind. I've had an extremely busy week. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Sunday is my dad's birthday. So if Florida State loses on Sunday, you guys should blame my dad, because I told him that when we watched the ACC championship together and Florida State lost, I wouldn't watch another game with him this season. And then today, he guilted me into watching the Sweet 16 game with him for his birthday.
If we're losing at half, you have to leave.
I will. I'll get the hell out of there.
I cannot lose to Michigan again because that game in 2018 still scars me.
Okay, so yeah,
I'm just saying, blame me.
No, that was on Monday, so I had all my friends coming. So they're all coming back. Like every one of them, doesn't matter if they're going to a funeral or their families in a house fire. They're all coming back to have the same group of people. So then, if one of them doesn't show up and we lose, I'll be exiting them from my friendship. I mean, it doesn't really mean much, but I will be exiting them. And we need everybody back. Superstition. Nate, you can shake your head all you want. You wish you could watch a sporting event with us, but you're in a household full of girls.
No comment. I'd rather not. We'll keep it G-rated.
G-rated?
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, yeah, I was going to ask you, Austin, looking at health-wise, how does Florida State look right now? Does this rest really helping them?
I mean, for sure. I mean, we've seen Scotty Barnes be hobbled these last few weeks. His ankle's still giving him issues. He's probably playing at like 65, 70%. MJ hasn't been fully healthy since what, late January, early February. He gets an extra week. I guess that's the one benefit of the NCAA pushing it back another day. Instead of having the Sweet 16 the same days as last week, it's now Saturday, Sunday, and then Elite Eight's Monday, Tuesday. Gives these guys a little bit of extra rest, gives them an extra prep day. They actually got to get outside the hotel yesterday. They went to the Indianapolis Zoo, which I know, fantastic.
That's
but
fun.
Yeah, an extra day of rest never hurts anybody. It's an extra day of getting used to Indianapolis, getting used to the gyms, getting used to the arenas. I mean, it can't hurt, certainly.
Yeah.
The big thing is whether it's enough time for Isaiah Livers to come back for Michigan, which the way Juwan Howard sounded on Monday night after the game, he still said he's out indefinitely. I don't think we'll see him this weekend.
True.
What's Michigan do that can give Florida State fits?
It's a very professional system because Juwan Howard was an NBA assistant for a while. So they've got these really early shot clock quick hitters that give a lot of teams fit.
I thought LSU was going to run them out of the gym. In that first half, LSU kept getting up by like 6 or 7, get up by 8, and I thought they were going to pull away.
Michigan just has so many give and goes. They've got these zipper cuts for Wagner to get him going. They've got just so many little stuff to get guys going that it gives so many teams issues. I don't think it'll be that much of an issue for Florida State just because they switch everything. It doesn't matter what the action is; they're just going to switch it. And with Michigan, you can't outscore them. It's a team that you have to get down and dirty with, slow them down, really beat them up. If you let them run and gun, crash the glass, get to the free throw line, then yeah, you're gonna have issues. And if you can get down and transition against them before their defense is set, even better. But they're really bad in pick and roll, especially defensively. I think they're like 18th percentile in pick and roll defense.
And pretty much Scotty Barnes needs to drive the lane.
He's got to get downhill. Yeah,
got to go.
It's gonna be one of those things where you got to get Dickinson away from the basket because Dickinson's so good. You got to get him in space and use it against him. Dickinson's a really good athlete for his size, but he gets caught in space. He gets caught in space too often. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of pick and roll on Sunday night, whether it's Scotty Barnes, whether it's Evans, whether it's Raekwon Gray. I think you see a lot of it, at least from the top of the key. Just get Dickinson away from the basket, or maybe get him in foul trouble. Just drive right at his body, try and create some fouls, get him off the floor, because he's their best offensive threat.
I know. I mean, I thought that the refs caught a weird game this past weekend. They were letting it go in the paint, but calling, I thought, were some ticky-tack stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, they're just letting them go. So, I mean, they need Balsa to.
Balsa has to play 25 minutes this game. Yeah. I think Ngom's got great potential, but he's going to get toasted by Dickinson. Dickinson's the guy we're really familiar with. We recruited him hard. Really wanted him to come to Tallahassee. I think we made us top 4. He chose Michigan over us, Duke, and Notre Dame off the top of my head. Very talented player. We've also got Sean D. Brown, who we saw 2 times a year in the ACC for the last 3 years at Wake Forest. He had a very good game against LSU. I think he had 21 points off the bench. So there's some familiarity. And then obviously Juwan Howard and Leonard Hamilton know each other very well. I'm sure they know each other's systems very well. There's been a lot of conversations back and forth between the two. It's going to be a really, really interesting game. I think if Florida State keeps it slow, but stays aggressive, I know it's hard to have one with the other. But if they can have it slow while still being aggressive, I think they have a very good chance.
Well, what are some key factors for Florida State that FSU can win this game? What are your maybe top 3 key factors for the Noles?
Read the preview.
I haven't even written it yet. I haven't even written it yet. Walsh's got to stay on the floor. Barnes has to be aggressive. And I think you got to bully Michigan's guards. Eli Brooks and Mike Davis are 5'11" and 6'1". That's a mismatch against Florida State's guards who are 6'5", 6'6", 6'9". You got to bully those guys. You got to make them feel really uncomfortable. It's not like with Colorado where you have one guy that can really dictate the whole offense. He's got to have the ball every possession. It's not like that for Michigan. Michigan plays through Hunter Dickinson a lot. it's hard to say get someone in foul trouble is a key, but if you can get Dickinson with 2 early fouls, it really changes the entire way the offense flows, because their backup Austin Davis is not good. You know, he's just a classic senior white guy, big, but he's smart, but he's not good. If you make him play 15, 20 minutes against Florida State, Michigan's gonna have a lot of issues.
Is he gritty? Does he
I
hustle?
wouldn't even say he's that. He's just old.
Is
he's
he a
just
student
old.
of the game?
He's
First
just old
in,
and
last out
experienced.
type of guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just old and experienced. That's all it is. That's the only reason he plays. If he plays 15, 20 minutes because Dickinson's in foul trouble, Florida State's going to win.
Yeah, and I mean the good thing is Florida State has so many different bodies that they can throw at Dickerson. Obviously, it's going to start off with Balsa, then you can go to Malik Osborne, to Ingam, maybe even play some Raekwon Gray on him if you have to. So I mean, there's just you can give him multiple looks, and hopefully, he makes mistakes. And like you said, Austin, you get him into early foul trouble, attack at the basket, make him work all night. I mean, he had a double against LSU, and I mean he's been one of the best freshmen this season, and Florida State's gonna have to lock him down.
He's their
And
leading scorer. I mean, the entire
Yeah.
offense runs through him because they just give him the ball at the high post, and he can pass out of it. He can drive. He's got such quick feet for a freshman center.
I think Balsa's gonna be ready for the challenge for this one because he's got to be upset with how that last game went, fouling out in just 11 minutes and not really being able to make the impact that he wants to. So I feel like he's gonna come out really motivated on Sunday night, playing a lot smarter.
Florida State has plays and have sets that are purposely meant to get an opposing team's big in foul trouble. How the first 5 or 6 minutes goes, where if we run it and Dickinson either blocks it or the rest just let it go, that could have a huge play in the way the entire game goes. But if they run these sets, he picks up a couple fouls, Florida State's just going to keep doing it all game. You just keep getting downhill, run lobs, get him in space. And even when you run those pick and rolls, if you're doing it on these guards that are so small, you can get those guys on your hips, and it's basically just like playing 2-on-1 at that point.
Is this score prediction time? I know, Austin, it will be in your preview, but I feel like it's score prediction time, gentlemen.
Hint, hint. If you want Florida State to win, pick a Michigan score under 67.
Under 67, is that a stat there? Give us a stat. Give us a reason.
They're 2-4. So they've only lost 4 games all season, and all 4 have come when they score 67 points or less.
That's a pretty good fact right there. So they need to score under 67, which the last 2 games Florida State's kept Colorado to 53 and UNCG to 54. Interesting.
I'm going to go.
What are you feeling, Nate? What do you got? What's going on? We need some reasoning behind it, too.
Because I said so. No, I think that Florida State's defense is playing really well. That's just a very easy, basic statement. But I think that, what made them kind of a trendy pick when they were 15-3, whatever the record was that they were scoring the ball better than probably they have under Hamilton. So, if that defense is coming around, and Florida State can score, I think they're a tough out for anyone. And I think that, I watched Michigan and LSU because I did expect Florida State to beat Colorado. So even though I picked LSU to win because I thought they would be the athletic ability, kind of what Austin said earlier, is why I picked LSU to win. And that's why I would pick Florida State to win this game, because I think that the defense is hot right now. I think that they shot a lot better, and they're a team that if they hit a couple of shots earlier, they're gonna create some havoc. And I think that Florida State is just going to. I think it's gonna be a grinder of a game. I'm going like I said 73-70 earlier on my Twitter. I don't like that stat that Austin just said, but I'm sticking with it because it's what I said. So. I think that, Florida State grinds it out. I think it's a tight game. I just think that Florida State's depth at the end of the day, I think, getting Barnes a little more focus on going downhill, getting to the rim, I think that is going to be the difference. So I just think Florida State, it has it's a mismatch. It's a style that is going to give Michigan fits. So
Yeah, I completely agree.
that's my reasoning.
Thank you for giving me that. I was about to thank you. I was going to give you a full thanks, but thank you, Nate Greer, for your full rundown there on your reason.
You're welcome, Logan.
When you look back at that second half that Florida State just had against Colorado, I mean, there's not many teams remaining in the tournament that's going to be able to beat a team that plays that kind of half for the full game instead of just for 20 minutes. I think Florida State's going to come out on Sunday in their rhythm and punch Michigan in the mouth, get out to an early lead, and make Michigan have to crawl back. I think it's going to end up being a close one as well. Just because Florida State, for some reason, I don't know what it is. The last 5, 6, 7, 8 games or so, just the start of that second half, they don't have the same level of intensity, and it seems like they always let the opposing team kind of get back into it. And we've seen them fold, but then on Monday we saw them rise to the occasion, go on that big run and take Colorado out. And that was a far cry from what they did 2-3 weeks ago against North Carolina when they gave up that huge lead and just kind of fell off down the stretch. I just feel like this team is ready for this moment. They've taken the punches all year, and they're ready to respond. So I'm going to go Florida State 72, Michigan 65.
Whoa. Okay. Two guys picked FSU. I don't know. I'm just here for the fun and the giggles, and I can have fun with friends and enjoy games. But now I'm fully invested after seeing a full energized FSU. Malik Osborne, I know Dustin's always been a big fan of his, but to bring that kind of energy, Florida State's going to need it against Michigan. And they showed against Colorado. They're there. Even Bossa was a little fired up too. Polite was fired up. It's good to see that because you're looking at MJ Walker, who's more of a quiet guy. He's not a big-time leader vocal-wise, but, you want to see Malik Osborne yell, get that energy going. And I think it helps them defensively, and it's worked well defensively last two games, but in particular the Colorado game, I thought they looked like they were on a very sharp. I'm going to go Florida State. I think Florida State is going to get their revenge on Sunday. I think Florida State wins this, though. I'm going to go Florida State 70 and Michigan 69. And it's not just because it's 69, but I think it is going to be Florida State's going to play good defense. Michigan's going to have a chance at the end, but it's going to be it's going to be a takeaway from Scotty Barnes, and he's going to hit a windmill dunk. And that's how the game's going to end, and Florida State's going to be going to the Elite Eight first time since
2018 when they lost to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a windmill dunk would be just fine.
Like Logan said, I'm going to pull a Kirk Herbstreit and not give a score. But that 2018 game was a really, really good Michigan team. They had 3 really good players, Mo Wagner, Duncan Robinson, Jordan Poole, 3 NBA guys.
Mm-hmm.
Had other guys like Charles Matthews and Xavier Simpson. It was a really talented roster, but Florida State made that game sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really sloppy game. I think the final score is 58-54.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if it's a similar kind of game. Florida State always has really great defensive game plans, especially in March. And whichever coach gets this defensive assignment's got a tough task. Obviously, it's not the same system. And I think there's only 2 players that were on that team, that are on this current team, Isaiah Livers and Austin Davis. But I think it's going to be a really, really sloppy game that, we'll look at the first half and go, man, what are we watching? This is not college basketball. And then the second half, the team wakes up, hits a couple big shots. Then towards the end, another team comes back. I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 point game.
So you're going like 59-57?
It's going to be down there.
I got to try to predict your score.
It's not going to be that low, but it's going to be down there.
64, 62.
Something like that. Yeah, I haven't entirely decided, but it's going to be somewhere around there.
Well, MJ Walker's got to play, defense like he did, against Colorado.
Everyone does.
Really bad on offense, but, I liked what I saw from him. He's definitely just out of it, and he's hurt. But, he gutted that one out, taking those charges.
I think he took 2 charges.
3.
Like, he was tough as nails.
Yep.
Real quick though, who's going to be Florida State's best player on Sunday? I feel like that's always fun. Giving predictions for these.
If Florida State wants to win, it's got to be Scotty Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
He has to get downhill.
Uh,
It's got to be him and Raekwon Gray.
I was about to say that. I got Gray and Barnes creating some trouble, getting with their ability to get to the basket.
Those two have to get downhill.
And also, I mean, you need another guard to have a good performance off the bench, whether it's Anthony Polite again, or whether Calhoun steps up and has a nice game.
Just stop dribbling so much, man. It's out of control. But
like this.
He's twitchy.
I love that. When he had that alley-oop,
he's an athlete.
When he hit the alley-oop, I think I just broke my hand on the table. I was just too far
I love that play. Like I wanted to break it down more in the article, my 3 game changing plays article. Like I know what the play's called, obviously. I love it. It's such a great play.
Yeah.
And we were always running against
Weird
2-3
flex.
zone. We just haven't. No one's seen it on film this year because we haven't played a 2-3 team.
Okay.
Like we didn't get to play Syracuse, so you don't see that play. Now Colorado's like, oh, we're in foul trouble. Let's run some zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's such and such. I'm not gonna say it again, obviously. There's another one where Nate got that open 3 at the top of the key, but he missed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's another 2-3 beater, where they just line up 3 guys across the key and just have a guy step back.
Oh, nice.
And
I'm gonna give me some. Obviously, I agree with those picks too, with Gray and definitely Scotty. But I'd like to see MJ getting his bag at the 3. I feel like it's coming, and I feel like he's tuning up here a little bit. I feel like it's coming. I feel like it is. I'm just going for like a little bold prediction here. I feel like I don't think he has to have a huge game, but I like a surprise guy. I think it could be MJ Walker at the 3.
bold prediction: only one guy finishes in double figures for Florida State.
Is it sad that you're saying MJ Walker is going to be the surprise guy for Florida State?
Yeah, the guy who the front half of the season was their best player, but he's been banged up. I don't see it. I kind of think
a little bit of rest.
I think he's trying to push through.
Kind of had some energy there in that last game. I don't know. I'm just feeling it. I don't know what it is. I was fully against, before the tournament started.
I could be wrong, but I think MJ Walker is a guy who feeds off putting points on the board, versus defense. I think, for him to be dialed in, he's got to score. I just don't.
Well,
I don't
think
see
so. It. Hopefully, I probably wouldn't be dialed in if I wasn't scoring.
Well, you know what I'm saying, dickhead.
Oh man! Anything else? Austin?
I hate Michigan.
I think we all do.
I've announced on Twitter that I'm banning myself from using the letter M on Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, the whole Discord is doing the same thing too.
Yeah.
The whole
I got people. The Discord is adding me saying we need to get on our Twitter and remove the M from No Game.
Can't have it. They don't deserve the respect.
I got too many things to do. All right. Anything else, guys? Anything else? We got a spring scrimmage on Saturday. Second one that me and Dustin will be at. We'll have full coverage inside the Discord. We have a bat cave. If nobody knows what that is and you're listening to this podcast, we go inside a voice room, I should say, inside the Discord. And practically I was doing play-by-play. Then Dustin hopped on and did some play-by-play kind of stuff there and just gave our own commentary. So if you guys want to join that, it's on our Patreon. Patreon.com/NoleGameDay, and you can connect your Discord to that and get in on that and get play-by-play of what's happening live during the spring scrimmage. We had about 30 people in there listening. It was rocking. So
yeah, I was gonna say make sure you hop on that, because I can guarantee there isn't any other Florida State media sitting up there in the stands with their headphones on, giving a live play-by-play and thoughts on the scrimmage. And
this is what they
you can
they had notepads.
You can hear the whistles blowing, like coming through, and some of the
you can hear the coaches. Yeah, you can hear Norvell. They can hear Norvell. Yeah,
like, I mean, you're just getting the live, raw stuff. So I mean, get in there, sign up as a gold member above, and check out that Bat Cave on Saturday. And alongside with that live coverage of the spring scrimmage, we'll also be doing the normal text updates like the other media.
Hey,
We're doing it both ways.
Great job, Dustin. Great job, man.
Thanks, man.
Back-to-back weekends. You're coming up, stepping up to the plate, man.
Let me just pat myself
it-
on the back over here for you.
It's phenomenal, man.
You gonna reach over here?
Yeah,
Come on.
Nah,
I'll see you in a couple weeks. You can pat my back.
Yeah, I'll pat you on the back then.
Yeah, pat him on the back, Nate. I can't wait to see y'all together. But yeah, make sure y'all on the Discord. As always, you can listen to this on iTunes, Google.
And shout out
Play.
to you, Logan, to get up in the morning and
I can't drink. I can't drink on Friday night now.
After drinking Bud Light Seltzer all night, getting up and putting some work in. Man, it's just really nice to see you actually do something.
Yeah, isn't that nice? Thank God. Are you editing this podcast after this? Staying up till 1? Are you doing this one, or which one are you doing?
I got next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you take your good rest now. We'll step up the plate for you. But yeah, check out Austin's preview for the game. When's that? Tomorrow? When's Thursday? Friday? Friday probably.
Saturday.
Saturday.
I thought you meant the game, dude. I was like, it's on Sunday. No. What?
I usually post it 24 hours before the game.
How about you listen to this conversation, Dustin, that you're on? But yeah, that's practically it. Nate's trying to talk.
Hey, Logan, my wife says that you seem like you're kind of a white collar kind of guy.
I don't drink. But
Logan does like all the seltzers, dude.
I do not do that.
I swear every time I get on Snapchat, I see you with a different one in your hand. You've
never seen me. I've never Snapchat. All right, Dustin
5 different brands by now.
Dustin's trying to just embarrass himself.
I just put dumb stuff on your story, and I'm like, oh, another
They're
one.
not. Oh, that was a high noon. Get it right. That's different.
Yeah,
no vodka's in that.
Start with White Claw, then you went to Bud Light Seltzer, and now you're on freaking high noon.
I'm trying to cut down, Dustin. I'm trying to, just like you're doing your cinder blocks. You want to tell us about your cinder blocks workouts that you're doing right now? Nate, you would love this. Tell them about your workout that you're doing, Dustin.
I mean, I live cinder blocks.
How's that feel in your shoulder?
Lift it over your head, curl it, do some push-ups on that bitch. There's some other stuff. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. Well, let's
How's it feel on my shoulder, Austin? It hurts. It's unpleasant.
Yeah, Austin just had hip surgery, and you're still struggling.
Yeah, congrats, man. You got cleared, Austin.
2.5 months early. Monday was a great day, man.
You gonna start hooping?
I'm gonna get back into it probably in the next couple weeks.
Break those ankles easily.
Ha.
It's easy money.
Logan, is there any sport you can't be anyone at?
I'm trying to figure it out.
I know he's a terrible terrible tennis player.
So you can beat Austin, you cross him up. You can beat Logan in a race.
I can beat Los. Yeah.
You're just a physical specimen in the gym with your bird chest. I just don't understand it.
Bird chest. Yeah, right.
Oh, he said. Dude, I swear on Saturday he said something like he can run Jamie Robinson over.
No. I never said
that. You said something like that. I was like, what are you talking about?
No. Depends though on the day. Depends on how much I ate the day before. That's all I'll say. Not now. Don't put that out there. Don't put that out there. I'll have someone tweet me with the clip of that tagging him. But yeah, everybody enjoy the rest of y'all's week. Enjoy the weekend. Also, Jameis just signed with the Saints. They got the contract signed just a little bit ago. So congrats to old J-Boo Wins, future starter for the Saints.
That's a great interview with Brent McFadden. If you haven't watched it,
I need to go back and I need to go listen to it now. But yeah, y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. We will talk to you guys
on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday in the Batcave. Exactly. I don't know what schedule we're on now. Too much basketball going on.